Seattle Supersonics versus the defending NBA champion Portland Trailblazers.
The NBA on CBS. Today's game.
Courtside at Memorial Coliseum, Portland, Oregon, because of the overtime game at Philadelphia. We are now with 4:02 remaining in the first period. And as you see, the Portland Trailblazers in a game they must win have opened up a 10-point lead.
As we take a look at Jack Ramsey, Jack McKinney talking to his charges there, the Portland Blazers have come back with a fury. They have scored 10 of their 16 points inside the Seattle defense, something they have not been able to do. They've been playing outstanding ball. Let's listen to Jack. Well, here we have Lenny Wilkins talking to Seattle. Let's see what Lenny has to say to Seattle.
You're walking enough in the playoffs, right?
Lenny said he wants to run that ball up the floor, Don Criqui. They have not been getting those easy baskets, opportunities off in the transition. We'll hear and see what Jack Ramsey has to say.
Tell them to make sure you get open up top to receive. Their fist now is a pin down, right? It's a pin down. So it's going high post and the forward screens it down. So make sure
He's talking about the fist play for Seattle, Don, where they send the guard down and they send the forward down to pin him down and pop him out, and they're trying to work their defensive strategy against that. Normally what Portland will do, they will switch in that situation, something Lenny Wilkins is well aware of. He tries to take advantage of that by using the mismatch and taking a man down low. But right now, Portland playing excellent ball, and the man I thought would have to play well, Tom Owens, has already scored 8 points.
He's been the big factor, Rick, no question about it. Owens has been getting the ball down low and scoring. He has 8 of the 16 points Portland has scored. Now we have a foul call as Lionel Hollins reached in. He gets his first.
Here we see the play here, Steele with pressure on Wally Walker. Right there, you see the foul. Trying to go for the ball, and the Steele over-aggressive.
Wally Walker fires over Johnny Davis, and Hollins skies to get the rebound coming in from outside, and Davis tries to push it inside. The Sonics are back.
And they have only shot 43% approximately for this series, and they are having a difficult time here this afternoon.
Points are tough to come by as Dennis Johnson rejected the shot. Now Johnson takes it the distance, the second-year backcourt player, but he can't get it to fall.
Seattle can't do anything right at this juncture of the ball game.
Lucas looking to fade away, fires, and Silas is defending against him, body checking nicely. Owens working hard, puts it back up, and Owens has 10 first period points.
That's right, and Tom Owens, a big factor filling in for the injured Bill Walton, and they needed him to have a good game up there the other night in Seattle. He did not, and they lost a very close ball game that Seattle came back to win as we have a traveling violation and another turnover.
So now the turnover sends the ball back over to the Trailblazers with 2:57 to go in the first period as Portland, the team that won the NBA championship last June 5th in this arena, fighting just to stay alive today in a Western semifinal series. Johnson goes to the floor, and they'll jump it up. Jim Capers jumps in.
Tremendous hustle out there, Don, on the part of the Portland Trailblazers. That's what Coach Ramsey wants them to do. Be very aggressive on the defense, try not to get into foul trouble, force Seattle into difficult shots, and they've been doing it to perfection thus far in this basketball game.
Owens has a big height advantage, but Dennis Johnson might be the best backcourt leaper in the league at his size, and Owens just gets the tip back to Lionel Hollins. 2:41 to go, first period, one-on-one. Owens goes against Webster, and here's a foul call.
And again, Tom Owens doing the job, forcing Marvin Webster off of his feet, picking up the foul. 4 team fouls for the Blazers, 3 on the Sonics.
This is Portland, Oregon. Don Criqui with Rick Barry. You see the first period time remaining. 2:36 to go. A game the Trailblazers, defending league champions, must win to stay alive, and they have been tough in this opening period. The man who stopped in for Bill Walton, Tom Owens, already has 11 points.
Yes, Don, I must say something. I'm one of Bill Walton's biggest boosters, and I've always spoken very highly of him, but I think it must be said, there's no excuse for Bill Walton to not be with his basketball team, even though he is injured. He has not been at any of the basketball games, and I think he is hurting his team's morale without his showing up. He should be here.
No one seems to know just why he isn't, but Walton, as much a team player as there's ever been in the league, has not been here since he's been hurt. So with 2:24 left to play in the first period at Portland, Oregon, it is the Trailblazers 20, the Supersonics of Seattle 6. Silas at the free throw line. He was fouled by Dave Twardzik.
This, without question, Don, has got to be the poorest offensive quarter for the Seattle Supersonics in the playoffs. They have just put 7 points, only 2:24 to go in the quarter. The crowd here does wonders for this team, Don. They had 2,700 people at the airport when Portland came home the other night after losing 2 games in Seattle. Shows you how the fans are behind them here.
Fantastic, it really is. Blazer Mania, they call it. And the Blazers have to play tough all afternoon just to stay in it and send the series back to Seattle. Silas body checking Maurice Lucas, and there's going to be a call on the veteran forward.
Here's the play right here. Watch Paul Silas. He doesn't use his arm. He's got him out. Look, there's the body. One hip there with the right. A little dance step. A little hip with the left. Do another little step. He gives him another shot. Picks up the foul.
So now with a 20-8 score on the board and 2 minutes to play in the first period, Lucas gets the ball tipped out to him. Owens follows it back up. No basket. Loose ball.
And that is on Tom Owens.
So the basket is negated, a loose ball foul, a pushing violation on Tom Owens prior to it. And with 1:58 to go in the first period, the ball turns over to Seattle. And now with both teams a penalty up for the Trailblazers, it's Jack Sikma come down to shoot free throws.
And Jack Sikma, the big factor in that close ball game, won by Seattle 100-98 the other night, back up in Seattle, and he made some big clutch baskets. And he's had 2 outstanding ball games in this series. And when it seems when Jack Sikma plays well, Seattle wins.
The number 1 draft choice in Illinois Wesleyan, who has just gotten better and better as the season has progressed, and he's been superior in the playoffs, a big factor for Seattle's success. Owens takes a look inside, now tries to move on. Here's the ball tipped away by Gus Williams, and a foul call from Jake O'Donnell.
Gus trying to use those quick hands that we talk so much about. Picks up his first foul, reaching in, and it is the penalty situation now.
Trailblazers really fighting against tremendous odds because of the injuries. The injuries to Bill Walton, Bobby Gross, and Lloyd Neal have taken an average of 43 points and 25 rebounds a game away from the Blazers based on regular season records.
Easy.
Owens from South Carolina has put up 13 first period points to give the Trailblazers a 21-9 lead.
And Dave Twardzik, who hurt a finger last week, is back in action again. He said he feels pretty good.
Wally Walker ricking off a pick from Sikma, but the Trailblazers double up, and here comes Twardzik with a steal. Williams comes back at it, and Twardzik puts his head down and heads to the hoop and draws the foul.
You really can't say enough about the aggressiveness defensively on the part of the Portland Blazers. We'll see the play right here as Walker's making a move. Now watch Twardzik. He's the offside guard. You see him make the good move to come over and double team. Great team defense. Steals the ball, makes the move. Look at Gus Williams sprint down the court. Watch Gus catch up to Twardzik. He loses the handle a little bit. Gus will come into the picture in a second as Twardzik goes up and gets fouled by Wally Walker. Dave, one thing with that finger, he said he's been having problems handling the basketball in that one, Don, and you could see right there that he had the dribble and he lost the handle just a little bit, but he still was able to pick up the foul.
Milwaukee is leading Denver 33-26 at the end of the first period at Milwaukee.
And Lenny Wilkins trying to get some offense in the game. He's bringing Bruce Seals and Fred Brown in. Great defense, Don. You saw that time again, Twardzik made a good play. He's a weak side guard. There was penetration. Dropped in and deflected the ball out of bounds. The Blazers really hustling on the defense. Reminding me of the second half in the game that they won here in Portland last week.
Well, their whole season, their championship is on the line now. The defense of it. Here is Fred Brown, the great backcourt shooter from Iowa. Sikma down low, loses Lucas, and puts it way up off the board to bank it down. 23-11. And as you see, the first period time winding down to a minute. Corky Calhoun in the game along with Willie Norwood now as they match up in the chess game. Substitutes coming in from the Trailblazers. Lucas with some good basketball.
Well, that time Maurice Lucas did what Jack Sikma has done to Maurice so often. He squared up to a game of pump fake, got him off his feet, went right by him to the hoop, and stuck with it and got the offensive board in.
And the Blazers lead by 14. Fred Brown kicks it cross-court to Sikma. And a whistle inside. A travel violation is signaled against the Supersonics. It's back over to Portland.
Lenny Wilkins trying to figure out what he can do to get his team some offense here in this basketball game. Portland executing beautifully, probably the finest quarter they've had.
Bruce Seals comes up with the ball, gets it to Dennis Johnson. Lionel Hollins takes it back, bangs it off Dennis Johnson. Jim Capers, the official on top of the play, says it was out of bounds and Hollins was the last to touch it. So Lenny Wilkins and the Supersonics will get the ball inbound. There's a great backcourt player for so many seasons with the Hawks, who has to be odds-on as NBA Coach of the Year with what he's done with his club.
He's probably wishing they played a little bit like we played in that 3-on-3 today.
That's right. He had Lenny in there. Here is Silas getting the ball back out to Fred Brown. He can trigger it. And Freddie Brown, who's got such a great shooting touch, pump fakes and gets it down.
Yes, he does. That's not the type of shot you want to recommend for a youngster to learn to shoot, floating through the air. That basket does not count. You saw it go in. Jake O'Donnell had blown his whistle down the far end of the floor.
I tell you, they ought to count those just for the beauty of it all.
Freddie Brown, for most players, Don, that shot that Fred Brown made, you would think it would be a bad shot because you're supposed to go up and come down in the same spot when you shoot the ball ideally and not be floating. But Fred shoots those probably with a higher degree of accuracy than some players shoot an easier shot just going up and down.
Willie Norwood tries his, oh my word, he almost got it down again. But the first period comes to an end, and they are up and cheering with good reason in Portland, Oregon, as the Trailblazers, in a game they must win, have taken a 12-point advantage after the first 12 minutes.
That as we look at Jack Sikma, Paul Silas, and Bruce Seals, and to try and clarify things, the reason for the problem at the end of the first quarter, Don, it was called by Jake O'Donnell a delay of game warning against Seattle for touching the basketball after it went through the hoop.
We're ready to start the second period now with Rick Barry. This is Don Crickey at Memorial Coliseum, Portland, Oregon. In the first period, Seattle turned the ball over 10 times. Portland only 4. That was a big factor as Porzik tries to get the ball in and does, and a whistle blow.
Another factor, Don, that really leads to Portland being in the lead was that they had 6 points off the offensive boards, and they scored 6 baskets inside the Seattle defense. That is inside the yellow portion on the court that you could look at, and that's where you hurt a team if you get in the gut.
They lose some height now as Owens is out taking a rest. Dennis Johnson coming down court with the ball for Seattle, firing off the run, getting his own rebound and putting it back up.
And it's good hustle staying after the basketball when he missed in the first offensive rebound for Seattle. And they've got to make a move here, close the gap a little bit. Can't try to do it too fast, though. They must be patient.
Highest point man for Seattle is Webster with 4. And, of course, the high man in the game is Tom Owens of Portland. He had 13 in the first 12 minutes.
And Willie Norwood picking up the foul over the back.
Now for a report on Milwaukee and Denver. Let's go to Gary Bender in Milwaukee.
And we welcome those viewers from the West Coast to that Portland-Seattle game. We have 9:47 to go in this first half of play, and the Milwaukee Bucks right now lead remarkably 43-26 over the Denver Nuggets as they have outscored the Denver Nuggets 25 of the last 29 points. And Keith Erickson, Milwaukee with a new lease on life and playing like a champion.
Oh, you better believe it. There's some intensive play going on inside. Jack Madden called that. That's right. Good call by Jack Madden. There's Bobby Jones going up with the ball underneath. And let's watch as the rebound comes off. Anthony Roberts touched that ball when it was on the rim.
So the Milwaukee Bucks, a real story in these NBA playoffs. A lot of people didn't figure they'd even win the mini-series with Phoenix. And now they're in Game 6, and they are playing very, very well. 43-29. David Thompson blocks that. English, Gianelli, blocked by Bobby Jones. Gianelli won't give up.
Tremendous intensity out there.
And so it's 45-26 with 8 minutes and 59 seconds to go before halftime.
And we welcome you back to Portland, Oregon. This is Don Crickey with Rick Barry. Our score now, the Trailblazers 27, Seattle 17. The Trailblazers in white with the ball is led by as many as 14. Calhoun puts it up, and Lucas with the offensive rebound back up for the Trailblazers. Down now comes Silas. Out he goes to Seals, and the Supersonics start to run. Bruce Seals gets a little lucky.
That's for sure, Don. That was not exactly an ideal type of shot to take, and he got a big break on it. He forced one up there and got it off the board.
Now slowly Seattle's getting back into this game, down by as many as 14. They're back to within 8, and Lionel Hollins has to bump to try to get by Seals, puts him in the air with a fake, and Hollins knocks it down with the left hand.
In that situation, the center, who in this case was Jack Smirka, could have helped out by stepping out. He didn't. Allowed Hollins to get the good look at the hoop, and he put it down.
Hollins has 6 now for Portland. 9:33 to play in the first half. Chikma coming outside now. Red Brown fires, and the whistle blows inside. A couple of substitutes, a couple of starters actually coming back in for the Trailblazers. Owens is back in, and so is Johnny Davis. Foul on Dennis Johnson is first. Willie Norwood, who got a chance to play again in the NBA because of all the injuries to the Trailblazers. Here is Calhoun outside. Norwood going down low. Seattle shifting on the ball, almost a zone defense. Johnson comes up with the ball. He had a great slam stuff a little while ago while we were away, but here's a violation that sends the ball back to the Trailblazers.
He let the dribble get a little bit too high on him, Don, and carried the ball over. The official right on top of the play. And another costly turnover for Seattle.
First game score in our NBA doubleheader. Washington beat Philadelphia 122-117 in overtime to take a 1-0 lead in the Eastern Finals.
They should have won that in regulation.
They did. They had a 4-point lead with 9 seconds to go. Here's Porzic starting to the basket. And boy, people are really crashing inside, going for the rebound, and we have a whistle from Capers.
Well, there's no love lost between these two teams. It's quite a rivalry between Seattle and Portland. And at the beginning of the game, there was quite a bit of banging going on. The officials right on top of it called a couple of early fouls, and the players have adjusted to it, and we have not seen quite as much just recently.
8:41 on the second period clock. Gus Williams back into the basketball game now for Seattle as Fred Brown will work in the back line with him.
And Gus only has 2 points so far in this game, and he's been averaging 20 points a game in this series, so I'm sure Lenny's looking for more offense from Gus.
10-point lead for Portland. Bruce Seals fires up an errant shot from out of range, and down the rebound is little Dave Porzic, smallest player on the floor.
Kind of silly shot, Don. Actually, he had a chance to get in a lot closer, and he came out much too far.
Lenny Wilkins says Seattle's game plan is to get the ball down low. We've got big guys who want to get it inside. Now it's a 31-29 game as Johnny Davis has his first points. 31-19 game, rather. 12-point advantage for Portland.
Great
Brown.
defense.
Yeah, look at the switch off. He had Owens on him. Ball tapped up, and here come the Trailblazers on the run.
And Freddie Brown made a silly foul in the backcourt, Don. Ball came out of the basket. He was a little disappointed, and he made a silly foul reaching in and picking up the backcourt foul. And we'll see it right here. The ball comes off right there. Freddie reaching in, picking up the foul, has no chance for it. He was disappointed he missed the shot, makes a silly play. 2 shots for the Blazers.
Next Saturday on the CBS Sports Spectacular, the WBA light heavyweight champion Victor Galindez, the man with the knockout left hand, will defend his championship against hard-punching Yaki Lopez, who gave him a lot of trouble in a first meeting last September. That's live on the CBS Sports Spectacular at 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central and Pacific, next Saturday on CBS Sports Spectacular.
Yes, sir, Don, and you can see by the statistics so far here in this game, in this quarter, Seattle shooting 3 for 6, 50%. You'd say, hey, they're doing pretty good. But then you take a look for the game, they're only shooting 38%, 8 for 21, while Portland has gotten up 32 shots, 13 for 32. They're not shooting particularly good, 41%. But when you get 12 more or 11 more opportunities at the basket, you're going to be ahead in the basketball game unless you're getting a lot of foul shots, and that has not been the case.
Johnny Davis at the free throw line, sets 2 down nicely. It is 33-19, and again the Trailblazers annex their lead to 14. They had to lead that big earlier. Gus Williams tries to push it in, but the Trailblazers sink back quickly on defense. Webster comes out to the free throw line, starting to direct traffic now, trying to set up a pick. Webster thinks rebounds and he thinks defense. He's not a big offensive player, but he can score, and they've started to go to him more.
Another turnover for Seattle. Silas had the ball, lost the handle on it. The Blazers have got another opportunity to increase the lead.
Owens looking around. That's where Walton is so spectacular. Passing off to the weak side. Shot away from the ball. Owens fights his way inside, gets it back, and puts it up. Well, he's played a big game, Rick.
Yes, he has played an outstanding game. 15 points already. He is a key factor as far as Portland is concerned. They must get a good game out of him. He's already given them a heck of a ball game early in the second quarter.
He's averaging 12 in this playoff series. Has already gone way over that with 15 and 6:54 yet to go in the first half.
Don, the same thing is happening in this game that happened in the second half of the game that Portland won last week. They're putting tremendous pressure on Seattle. They're not responding to it well. They're allowing it to affect them. Their shot selection is not as good, and they're stopping them from executing their offense, and it's causing a lot of problems. This by far the best performance by Portland that I have seen, and probably the poorest performance by Seattle.
Rick, at Milwaukee, the Denver Nuggets are starting to get back into the game. They trail 47-40 in the second period with 6:54 to go in the first half here at Portland. The Trailblazers are up to their biggest margin, 35-19.
We welcome our viewers from the West Coast area. We have 4 minutes and 33 seconds to go in this first half of play. The Milwaukee Bucks are leading by 9, 49-40, make it 11 as Brian Winters has scored. The Bucks jumping out. All of a sudden, Denver fighting back into this game, and now the Bucks are making a move again.
With that tremendous passing ability the Bucks have, these young Bucks getting the ball into Ernie Grunfeld after 3 beautiful passes.
Along with Keith Erickson, this is Gary Bender. As a crowd here, a sellout crowd, Larry Brown, very uneasy. He doesn't want to have to return to Denver on Wednesday night for that 7th and final game.
Well, you can say that again. He's very unhappy to be here right now, I'll guarantee you.
51-40. They sold out this game in 1.5 hours yesterday morning. They had 4 lines of fans outside of the ticket booth. Didn't take long to have another sellout here. Marcus Johnson. Marcus Johnson now makes it 53-40 with 3:48 to go in the first half.
And we welcome you back to Portland, Oregon. Don Criqui with Rick Barry. We have 6:21 to play in the first half. At the free throw line for Seattle is Gus Williams. His team down by 15 now as the Supersonics rallied back to within 8, and then Portland pulled away again. Somebody once said, Rick, they could sell Jack Ramsey's seat and nobody'd know it because he's never in it.
Well, that's for sure. He's sure an active fellow. He works out quite a bit, a real physical fitness freak, and an outstanding coach who has a new book out, The Coach's Art. So I'm sure you can learn a lot from that.
Here is the rebound down to Jack Sikma. Up to Freddie Brown and over to Gus Williams, who fires long range. The roll doesn't go to him, but John Johnson had it for a moment. And
boy, they just can't do anything right, it seems. Don, they can't handle the ball. Ball comes to Johnny, bounces off out of bounds. They're really having their problems. If they can stay reasonably close, things have got to get better in the second half.
Lenny Wilkins still with a very decided advantage in this series because they'll be going back to Seattle for Game 6 on Monday night if Portland wins today. 5:50 left to go in the first half. Lucas coming out high as men work off him. Owens playing down low. Steele back in the game. Feeds to Owens with 15. Draws a shooting foul.
And picks up the 3rd foul on Marvin Webster, who would spend a lot of time on the bench and maybe going back there very quickly. As we see the play here, gives the pump fake. Another shot right there. You saw the arm hit Tom Owens on his arm. Official right on it. Good call. And Marvin didn't complain. He knew he had hit him. So here's the man who has been a big factor. He's been scoring the points, and Maurice Lucas has been getting a lot of rebounds.
Roy Owens has really been the difference. 16 points now as Lenny Wilkins is up and pacing. 17 points. 37-21. Again, Portland with its biggest lead of the game. They've enjoyed this earlier. Back over to the Trailblazers break.
It's amazing what's been going on as the offensive foul is called here. Another turnover by Seattle.
Jack Sikma is called for his 2nd personal foul. 5 team fouls on the Blazers in the second period, 4 on Seattle. Owens just killing him inside, hooks it in again.
Tom Owens just outstanding. Right away, you knew that they were going to go down to him. 3 fouls on Webster. Jack Ramsey wants to try to pick that 4th one up. Paul Silas getting ready to come in, probably for Webster.
Fast Freddie Brown drills it. And we welcome our Milwaukee-Denver viewers again. Don Criqui with Rick Barry, Portland in white, Seattle in green. Portland's getting the great game from Tom Owens, Bill Walton's replacement. Owens has hit 19 points, and the Trailblazers are in the lead 39-23.
And Seattle playing their poorest game thus far in all the playoff competition. Portland, meanwhile, playing outstanding ball, knowing that there was no tomorrow for them. They've got to play good basketball. They lost the game that they felt they should have won the other night up in Seattle, and they still have to go back up there to win. They win this one here.
Portland fighting to stay alive. Freddie Brown leans in, takes the shot, but the whistle goes against the Sonics, and the ball is back over to Portland.
We'll watch the play right here as Freddie makes his move to the hoop. Freddie likes to jump in. You see Collins with the good position, stand still, and there's Freddie initiating the contact. Good call by the official.
Sonics have turned the ball over 16 times in the first half. We have 4:20 to play in it. Down low, a feed off to Maurice Lucas, and the Trailblazers have it all going as they're up now 41-23.
And they're getting inside Seattle's gut as far as the defense is concerned, and the fans are really going here. That is 9 baskets that they've gotten inside the perimeter area, inside the perimeter. You see the play here. He forces the man to leave his feet, passes to Maurice. Easy dunk.
With 4:14 to play in the first half. Portland with its biggest advantage now, an 18-point lead, 41-23. The Trailblazers beneficiaries of 16 Seattle turnovers, but it's been the tenacious Portland defense that's forced a lot of those.
No question about that, Don. They're playing outstanding defense, exactly the way Jack Ramsey talked to them about it before the ball game. If they can maintain this type of aggressiveness, it's going to be very difficult for Seattle to get back here, especially with the great crowd support that the Blazers get here at home.
They really rev it up as we now wind down to 4 minutes to go in the first half. Gus Williams backing in on Johnny Davis. Brown gets it low to Sigma, puts the ball up on Owens and gets it down. And so it's a 41-25 game.
And Seattle finally executed their offense and got the play that they wanted, got the ball down deep inside and scored a relatively easy basket.
Portland has only turned the ball over 6 times. Wouldn't fall inside. Fred Brown picked it up and he was tripped as Johnny Davis came around behind him. So the ball's coming back down to the other end for a free throw. Here we are back at Portland's Memorial Coliseum. 3:46 left to play in the first half. Don Criqui with Rick Barry as Fred Brown, one of the best free throw shooters in the league. Can't get it down that time. He hit over 89%. And it is now a 41-25 game Seattle. Rick?
I think that's indicative of the way things have gone so far this afternoon for Seattle. Fred Brown, as you pointed out, missing a free throw opportunity. They just are not doing very much right out here in this basketball game.
But the penalty in effect, so Freddie Brown gets 3 chances to make 2 and get Seattle back in. Portland is led by as many as 18 points in this game. Great performance by Tom Owens, the backup center, starting for the injured Bill Walton. Owens has 19 first half points. Lionel Hollins leads the Trailblazers down. They're in white. Here is Lucas coming outside, taking the free shot off the pick set up for him by Owens.
And Seattle's defense breaking down also. They were not allowing those type of shots in the games that they won. Maurice was wide open behind the pick. Nobody made an effort to get out to him.
Fred Brown trying to lose Lionel Hollins, and Fred Brown puts in a driving hook shot that brings the Supersonics back to it in 14. Owens out high now. Lucas late coming up the court. You'll see him join the offense in a moment. Hollins against Sigma on an overmatch, but he fires it up anyway. And the rebound caroms off to Freddie Brown. Here comes Gus Williams down the middle on the break. Sigma fills the left lane. Off to the right is Fred Brown. Down low it goes to John Johnson. No shot, but there is a shooting foul.
And the basket will not count. Paul Silas touched it, but that was the type of basketball that Seattle played. As you see Gus Williams make the feed off to the right side. You'll see Freddie take it. Gets the defense to commit, makes the 5 pass underneath. Johnny gets fouled on the shot, and the ball, as I said, did not count because Paul Silas had tipped it. But that's the type of play that Seattle must run if they expect to get back in this ball game, and that's what they did so well in the games that they won. They forced Portland to take a tough shot, get the rebound, get it up the floor quick.
John Johnson throwing up some bricks here from the free throw line as Dr. Ramsey up pointing out instructions to his Trailblazers. Hands are all over Johnson. He almost got the hat trick.
And again, Seattle really having trouble doing anything right at all. They got the easy play down there, and they didn't take full advantage of it.
That was John Johnson's first point. Owens gets a free one inside as Portland works one of its patented plays to perfection.
Yes, and Jack Sickman that time overcommitted himself, and Owens took advantage of it. Smart play by Tom.
And Owens, Rick, is now up with 21 points here in the first half, 2:30 to play in it. Ball is tipped over to Johnson, hustling on defense, shifting over on the ball, doubling up on the basketball, making it very difficult for the ball handler to move it inside. Poorly taken shot by Williams, and here come the Trailblazers. Hollins looking for steal on the right flank. Hollins takes it in and draws a foul. These Trailblazers really...
There's a pushing under the basket, Don, right there between Steele and Brown. Jake O'Donnell in to break it up. Peppers. And this will happen so often in the ball game. When things aren't going right for you, you have a tendency to lose your composure a lot more quickly than you would if things were going right for you. So there's a foul called, technical foul. There we see Hollins making the move. He sees a little bit of opening here, a little daylight. He tries to force the issue, gets through, picks up the foul. Gus Williams hit him with the body. And let's see, right there are Steele and Brown. As you see in the left part of your screen, is where they got into it.
Again here. Larry Steele, a veteran player from Kentucky, has taken good advantage of some hot tempers from Seattle early in the game. John Johnson got angry and ran right over him, was called for a charge, and now Fred Brown continues to throw words on him as Lenny Wilkins, a man who never loses his cool, or rarely, if at all, is up wondering what his Sonics are doing wrong here as they're down 46-30. They're still talking.
Larry and Fred going at it a little bit. I'll tell you, Larry does like the hole, but he's not a dirty player. He just tries to get away with as much as possible out there. We had an instance in one of our games, I remember, Dodd gave him a little shot and he fell down and everybody thought I punched him. He did a great acting job.
All right, Twardzik comes back in the game now. 2:14 to play in the first half. It is Portland 46, the Supersonics 30. Lionel Hollins at the free throw line, looking to put it up a second time, and it's a 48-30 game. And again, Portland is up by 18 points.
Seattle has to come down, try to execute their offense. Don't try and get too much back too quick. Take your time, chop it down a few points. Try and do better the second half.
Freddie Brown coming around the top, working off a screen set by Sickma. Shot does not go, and here come the Trailblazers ripping it down the floor again. They go full speed if that overmatch is there. Hollins can really move the ball. Lionel Hollins, who had 35 in the last game, can't get this one down. Down low it goes to veteran Paul Silas, who had just enough as the clock winds down to 1:30.
Bad transition that time by Portland, allowing Silas to sneak behind the defense. Good pass for the easy hoop.
Fred Brown is high for Seattle with 8 points coming off the bench. Williams has 4. Johnson has 4. Sickma has 5. Their points are spread out. The big guy, as we mentioned, for Portland is Owens with 21, and now 10 points are up for Lionel Hollins. As we wind down to a minute to go in the first half. Sickma looking to head right to the hoop, but he's body checked by Owens and then gets it over him.
Jack likes that shot. He likes to bring it over his head, and it's almost impossible to defend against that shot if he has the range.
Twardzik takes it inside. There's a whistle that's going to go against the Trailblazers.
And it was called traveling on Twardzik as he made the move to the hoop. Here we see him here. There's 1 step. There's 2 steps. And you're only allowed a step and a half.
That's all. So Portland, not guilty of many, gets its 7th turnover. Seattle's more than doubled that amount in the first half. 17. Here is the free shot by Sickma, but not there. Offensive board to Silas, taken away by Owens, and a foul call on Seattle.
And there we go again. Here's a perfect illustration of what's happening to Seattle. They can't get a break. Paul Silas works hard to get the offensive board. He gets it, has a chance for a layup, loses the handle on it. Ball falls to Portland, pick up a backcourt foul. When things go bad, everything seems to crumble.
That was Jack Snicka, Rick, getting his 3rd personal foul with 31 seconds to play in the first half. First game today, Washington upset Philadelphia, 122 to 117 in overtime in the first game of the Eastern Final Series. T.R. Dunn, first-year player from Alabama, getting set to come in the game now for Portland.
And Owens misses another free throw. If he had made all his free throws, he'd be up around, I think, 23 points. Got a chance to go to 22. Well, I'll tell tell you what, I said he's got to play a good game, but he's going crazy out here.
Yeah, he's doing it.
He's played a full game in the first half.
He has played a full game in the first half. 23 points now for Tom Owens. As you see the game clock winding down, the first half coming to a close, and the Portland Trailblazers are going to go in with a big advantage. Johnson throws, whistle blows.
That would be on Larry Steele, pushing Johnny Johnson as he tried to go over that screen. And that is a penalty situation for us. Gets the Sonics, as Twardzik gets up to come back into the ball game. And wonder how much rest he got there, Don. Barely had time to sit down.
Well, Twardzik, the pinball wizard. He bounces all over the floor.
Jack Ramsey wanting to bring a little more experienced player in. He's got 12 seconds left. He would like to have a good opportunity. He feels that Twardzik can create more than T.R. Dunn at this stage.
John Johnson has been hammering up bricks on that free throw line, but Sikma gets the rebound as time is winding out. Johnson fires, rebound up by Silas. He'll get another try, and another. And the horn sounds, and despite the best efforts of Seattle in the closing seconds, they can't get a bucket. And so, at the end of the first half, the Trailblazers stay very much alive in this series, leading 52-34. Is Portland Trailblazers with 10:29 to go in the third period. And as you see the numbers, Portland leading by 14. Now for a report on the Denver-Milwaukee game, let's go back to Gary Bender and Keith Erickson in Milwaukee.
And we welcome our viewers from that Portland-Seattle game. We're here in Milwaukee. The Bucks in the white and the dark uniforms, the Denver Nuggets, and the Bucks leading at the 5:30 mark of this third period, 75-59. They've led by as many as 20 points in this third period. Brian Winters.
Milwaukee just not letting up in this game. Coming out in the second half with a 15-point lead. They're still keeping the pressure on this Denver Nugget team.
Denver not getting the balance scoring. It's been primarily David Thompson. Here comes Winters. Up to Clint Buckner for the easy two. And it's bedlam here at the arena. A sellout crowd. They love it as the Milwaukee Bucks have a 20-point lead once again. 79-59 with 4 minutes, 59 seconds left to be played in this third period.
And here we are back in Portland as Jack Sikma has just picked up his 4th personal foul. And they cannot afford to lose Jack Sikma. Lenny Wilkins looking on, and a technical foul has just been called against Marvin Webster as we're looking at Jack Sikma. Here's the play again. Maurice Lucas drives baseline. Sikma has given him about a half a step. Maurice right there, and he'll use a muscle move right here. Hooks him a little bit with the arm, got away with it, and Sikma got called for the foul from behind.
So Big Luke, as Sikma looks on, the rookie. Big Luke goes to the free throw line. He and Sikma have been playing a very physical game. They've been bumping inside. Lucas with a good shooting touch puts up the free throw to give Portland a 57-42 lead, a 15-point advantage for the Trailblazers.
And Maurice, with those injured wrists of his, having difficulty with his shooting, was shooting only 35% for this playoff series, and they need better production from Maurice if they expect to win this championship series or semifinals.
How do you figure, Rick, so many of the Trailblazers getting hurt this year when they were for the most part healthy all last year?
The way the game goes sometimes, so unpredictable, Don. There's no rhyme or reason for it.
They caught Owens.
And that's his 4th personal foul also, so that could hurt as you see Tom upset with it. He has no reason to complain. We'll watch the play here. It's very obvious. Here's the ball coming off the boards. Now watch Owens right here. There he is at Webster right here. Gives him a little bump with the body, pushes him away, picks up the foul. You can do that sometimes when the man doesn't have the ball going into the act of shooting, but when he's going to shoot the ball and you do it, invariably the official will call a foul.
So Owens goes to sit down. He's a much-traveled young man. Has played on, this is his 8th team in pro ball. Was on 6 in the ABA. Houston last season. He's having a big day today. Now the foul problem as Dennis Johnson drives a foul, blows before he cuts down the baseline of the floor, and the ball turns back over to Portland. Rick?
And that is going to be a very costly foul right there. That is the 5th personal foul on Jack Sikma. Offensive foul. He will be going to the bench as Paul Silas comes in quickly.
a bad guy to have coming in, though, is it?
Well, of course, Paul is not going to give you the offense that Sikla can give you. He had 28 big points in that ball game the other night when they hit some key baskets. They could not afford to have Sikla on the bench.
Silas now in his 13th year in the NBA. Lucas looks down low, triggers it inside. Hollins is rejected. John Johnson gets the ball, and the Sonics come up running with 5 men on the go. Marvin Webster, because I think he's going to look, Rick, to go a little more offense. He hasn't done much. Here's the steal by Hollins. On the left flank is Lucas. All of it. For Big Luke, and they love it in Portland.
Well, Seattle having the same problems they had in the first half. Not handling the pressure well. Look at this, almost another steal. Foul is going to be called on Lionel Hollins. There's quite a bit of contact out there. The officials may have waited a little bit too long. Dennis Johnson did throw an elbow and caught Lionel Hollins, but Jim Capers said that Lionel had grabbed him before he threw the elbow.
Dennis Johnson calls out the 5 play for Seattle. So we'll see some of the Sonics breaking off as Johnson comes around a double stack. Takes a shot that's way off, and here comes John Davis on the run. Hollins pulls up, back to Davis, takes a look at Lucas and fires the steal. Willie Norwood fading away.
And the crowd loving it as they get it back up to 19 points.
(61-42). And it's coming back into the Portland Trailblazers.
Again, the aggressive defense by the Blazers causing problems for the Sonics. They're looking for the foul call, and you can't look for help from the officials, especially on the road. You must play through it.
.7:30 to go in the third period. Here's Johnny Davis going to Lucas, who pulls up, and Lucas knew it was good. He was bouncing up and down in jubilation.
Hey, you just saw Jack Ramsey in the corner as Maurice slapping hands. The Blazers are really psyched. Ramsey's pumped up. The fans are pumped up. This town goes crazy over their basketball team as you see Lucas just catch the ball, take an 18-foot jumper, bury it, and the Blazers have got it rolling.
Friday night, more NBA World Championship playoff action, 11:30 Eastern Time. Quite probably the winner of the 2 Western semifinal series will be opening up. These 2 series a long way from decided as Milwaukee is leading Denver in Game 6 there, and here at Portland, the Trailblazers in command by 21 in the third period in a game they must win just to stay in the playoffs. Silas pulls up for a shot. He doesn't take it off unless they give him a free one, and he knocks it down. He has 6.
So the loss the other night up in Seattle looming very big now as far as the Blazers are concerned.
They were leading by 11 in the fourth period in that game, and ultimately lost out by 2 when sickness started throwing everything in. Blocking foul is called on Larry Steele.
Toughest call in the game of basketball as far as the official is concerned, Don, that blocking or the charging violation. 4 team fouls on the Blazers, only 1 on the Sonics.
So now Dennis Johnson at the top. Tries to look for a good percentage shot. Gets the ball down low to John Johnson, and a 3-second violation is signaled against Paul Silas, and the ball turned back over to Portland. So here come the Trailblazers up the floor. We welcome our Milwaukee-Denver viewers. 6:24 to go in the third period. The Trailblazers in white commanding up by 63-44 margin as Sonics come down the floor after a steal by Silas. This is Don Crickey with Rick Barry. The crowd intensity has been as great here, Rick, as the play on the floor.
You see the play right here. Bad pass by Silas. He did the one thing you shouldn't do as a player is get yourself caught up in the air without an outlet. Ball given back to Johnny Johnson and the Seattle Supersonics.
The Trailblazers, the deck stacked against them by injuries, an item they have no control over. With Walton out, Bob Gross out, Lloyd Neal out. That's an average of 43 points and 25 rebounds in a regular season average out of the lineup, but yet They're in command of this game, and they must win it to stay in the playoffs.
And the second foul on Maurice Lucas as he gives a good acting job as we see the play here. Webster, a little pump fake, goes up for the shot. Luke tries to go up, catches him on the arm, trying to block the shot. He should not have tried to block that one. He's smaller than Webster, who's a 7-footer. He's forced to play center because Tom Owens is on the bench in foul trouble. And Tom had the super first half. And right now, Maurice is doing a good job so far against Webster.
One of the most important players. There's Tom Owens, who's been the leading point producer in the game. 23 first-half points. Did not score in the third period. He's sitting down now with 4 personal fouls. One of Seattle's most important players, the rookie power forward Jack Sikma, has 5 fouls, so he's on the bench also. Portland in command, though, 63-46. Willie Norwood takes a look as there's a lot of motion in the Portland offense. They make that Seattle defense work. Norwood down low, a guy who's got a basketball. There is Bobby Gross on the right, Lloyd Neal on the left. 2 of the top players in the Portland team who've been out with injuries.
Again, you see the tremendous pressure Lionel Hollins is putting on Dennis Johnson out here. And that's been the reason for Seattle having difficulty running their offense, that type of pressure.
Dennis Johnson very calmly guns it from 20 feet away. And now with 5:19 to play in the third period, it is Portland 65, Seattle 48. Johnny Davis almost had the ball taken away. Davis on the drive, picks off to Willie Norwood. Then the rim.
And the fans react to everything here that the Blazers do. That play was caused because Gus Williams went for the steal and allowed his man to get penetration, and penetration will create many opportunities.
Marvin Webster down low for Seattle. He has 8 points in the game. That's all for Marvin Webster. Ready to put it up now. And Webster now with 10 points in Seattle. Comes back to it in 17.
But Seattle doing it one-on-one basically here, Don. They're not executing their offense well at all.
That's a good point. They really have not been working the plays they want to work. Lenny Wilkins wants them to get the ball down low because Portland has a tendency to switch off and you get the overmatch. Little guys guarding big one. Here's Lucas pulling up. Boy, he's tough. Lucas has 15.
That's the best I've seen Maurice shoot the ball from the outside thus far in this playoff series. He's got nice rotation on the ball now.
Shooting very confidently. With 3:50 to go in the third period. Twardzik gets set to come back in the game for Portland. Down low to Dennis Johnson. Silas passes inside and Maurice Lucas keeps him from going down. But
that's a very good
Lucas.
Very good sequence there, Don. Excellent team defense as Twardzik comes to the game. Excellent team defense by Portland. Ball comes back to Johnny. Johnny Johnson throws it back into Silas. Silas goes in, gives the good pump fake, gets Maurice to commit himself, draws the foul. Wise move by the old veteran. And I can call him old because he is older than I am.
That's right. He's been around even longer than the veteran Barry. Well, that was some trade that Seattle worked. Not only did Marvin Webster come, but so did Paul Silas from Denver in the trade that sent Burleson over there. And Sikma on the bench you saw looking on. So now Twardzik pushes the ball up quickly. A very up-tempo to this whole game. Both teams breaking it quickly over the timeline to get all the time they can get off that 24-second clock to work play. Twardzik, who shot the ball almost not at all, can't get it to go. Here's Johnson with a height advantage, taking it right to the basket. He's called for a charge.
And the Portland crowd likes that when Seattle's upset. Lenny, I think, may have a right to be upset on that play. Let's take a look at it here. Now watch Twardzik. He's moving. He runs over quickly to get in front of the man. Johnson had already committed himself. There's no question in my mind that should have been a block. Bad call.
And it turns into 2 points for the Trailblazers at the other end as Twardzik is right down there to get it, and the Trailblazers open up a 19-point lead.
That play hurt a little bit, Don, too, because they had a chance to cut it back down to perhaps 15 points.
Sure did. Gus Williams, your old teammate at Golden State, comes back to pop one to make it 71-54.
With 3 minutes to go, if they play wisely, work hard on defense, chop away 4 or 6 points, they're still certainly within range to get back in this ball game, have a chance to pull it out. But it's going to be defense that must do it for them.
After we saw Milwaukee seemingly out of the game Friday night at Denver and comes back to win it. Foul stops play.
You saw Twardzik put his fist down. He knew once he heard that whistle. As he comes off the play here, you see he gets a half a step on Gus. Goes into the basket, goes up in the air, draws the other defensive man. Got bumped right there. He heard the whistle and he passes it off. It was a good play, but he would like to have taken a shot at the basket. When you hear the whistle, you know that you got a chance for 2 free throws. Dave realized it, but there's nothing he can do. He had committed.
Victor Galindez of Argentina, the World Boxing Association light heavyweight champion, puts his title on the line. Saturday afternoon, next Saturday at 4:30 Eastern Time, 3:30 Central and Pacific against Yaki Lopez. A good fighter, a strong contender. And he live Saturday afternoon here at Portland at 71-54 as the Sonics come back out late in the third period. Big factor here, Rick. Gus Williams with only 6 points. Here's a guy that averaged over 20 in the series.
That's right. The starting team for Portland, 59 points thus far in the game, only 39 for the starters from Seattle. And Seattle hasn't gotten all that much more. Some of the other people who have scored in double figures throughout the playoffs. They had 6 in double figures, only 3 right now so far in this game.
Wally Walker is back in now for shot. And Wally Walker fouls Larry Steele, who makes the shot work. And it's 73-54.
We'll take a look at this play right here. Here's Steele giving a good ball fake. Got Wally Walker to overcommit to his left. Had him beaten right there. He whacks him on the arm. Maintains good control of the ball in his body. Puts it in. And this is a very underrated basketball player. He can play guard. He can play forward. He's not a very flashy type player, but boy, he gets the job done for you.
2 minutes and 5 seconds to go in the third period. Portland with a 20-point lead. They were up by 18 at the half. Webster lost the ball going up, but they ruled that he was hacked on the arm.
That would be the 4th foul. Maurice Lucas has the pass inside here. Now watch Maurice right there with the hack. Looked like he hacked the ball. And that shouldn't be a foul, and Maurice is upset about it.
And it's the 5th team foul of the period against the Trailblazers. Right now, we have a timeout on the floor. 2:01 left to go in the third quarter here at Portland. So we're going to get our sideline microphones into those huddles and see what instructions, see what Lenny Wilkins has to say. Not very much so far. X's and O's.
Trying to draw a few plays. He's trying to get them to execute their offense, something they haven't done very much of in this entire ball game. Let's see if Jack can pick up what Jack's saying.
All right, everybody else jam in there. We're going to try and dump it down inside. We need help. We're going to try and front as much as we can. But if the post man can't front him, we need people inside to jam out. If he receives,
now let's update the Denver-Milwaukee playoff game as we go back to Gary Bender and Keith Erickson in Milwaukee.
And we have a 98-71 score here as we welcome our fans from that game out west between Portland and Seattle. As we've had a timeout called, the Milwaukee Bucks continue to pour it on the Denver Nuggets. They lead 98-71. They have 5 men in double figures. They have gotten great intensity out of a team that everybody wrote off Friday night, and now looks like they may even up this best-of-7 series at 3 each.
We are set to go now at Portland with Marvin Webster going to the free throw line for Seattle.
And Maurice Lucas picking up that personal foul has gone to the bench. Willie Norwood in the ball game. Tom Owens back in now to see some action. He also has 4 personal fouls. You see Maurice sitting on the bench, getting a well-deserved rest. Played a fine ball game so far, Don.
He has. He's been a big factor. Maurice Lucas with 15 points has worked very well inside, blocking and setting up other shots for the Trailblazers.
He's really been very impressive on the boards.
11 points now for Marvin Webster. Norwood brings it in as it's now 74-56, an 18-point advantage for the Trailblazers, the same margin they led by at halftime.
Not many teams that come back from a 3-1 deficit. Portland certainly making a good run at it here.
Game 6 would be Monday night at Seattle. Borgic fires. And Steele gets the offensive rebound, and now they're looking to run that clock down, take their time, and work their offense. Shot clock is kicked down again to 24. It's wound down now to 15 as we have 1:27 on the game clock in the third period.
Good defensive sequence that time by Seattle. Something that they have to do more of if they expect to get back in this basketball game.
Lots of motion. Owens gets free at the line, looking for his first points of the second half. Almost got an air ball off, but Borgic rebound.
Well, a little 6-footer sneaks in there and does a lot of good things. Very smart player and gets the most out of his abilities.
The Wizard. Breakaway, backdoor. Hollins leads Norwood.
That's a breakdown in team defense that time. Nobody was there to help.
Webster heads to the basket for Seattle as Dennis Johnson fires. Portland coming down on the fast break here at Memorial Coliseum, Portland, Oregon. Don Criqui with Rick Barrow. We have 48 seconds, as you see, superimposed to play in the third period. The Trailblazers are led by 18 at the half, and now next their lead to 20 as they keep up the pressure basketball. Owens, who scored 23 in the first half, has not scored here in the second half, but the other guys have picked it up.
Portland's just playing good all-around team basketball. As you take a good look at Larry Steele, T.R. Dunn coming in for Lionel Hollins. Seattle definitely going to have their work cut out for them. Of course, playing tomorrow night, it could be somewhat of a disadvantage for Portland. They are putting out a lot of energy out here. They're working very hard. They're not going to have much time to rest.
Dennis Johnson comes down court with the little man, the Borgic, fighting up against him, challenging the ball all the time. He makes you work for every foot you bring it up the court. Webster can't get it down, but the veteran Paul Silas does and leads inside to Dennis Johnson.
Well, that's a good pass by Paul as Dennis cut to the hoop, and Seattle working hard. They certainly don't want to go back and play that game tomorrow night. So we watch the play here. Paul sees his man. Nice bounce pass, and that's the type of a pass that players should throw a lot more of. The players have a tendency to throw it up in an area where you can get your hands on the ball, but it's very difficult to get those bounce passes and pick them off.
T.R. Dunn, the rookie from Alabama, gets his first personal foul, and Dennis Johnson's at the free throw line now for Seattle.
Well, they don't convert those easy opportunities they have. They miss the free throws. If they keep doing that, we're going to have a basketball game played up in Seattle tomorrow night.
Right now, the form chart looks pretty much like there's going to be a game 6 unless Seattle starts throwing in everything. And Portland is playing defense that's been every bit as tough as their offense. Their defense, in truth, has set up their offense, forcing an inordinate number of turnovers by Seattle, which Portland's converted into breakaway points, particularly in the second period. 20 seconds to go now, as you see, 15 seconds to go in the third period as Borgic sets up the final shot. Owens playing out. Borgic looking to drive off, and he does. Back to Owens. Play volleyball, and by golly, Willie Norwood sneaks in and gets a bucket. And they love it in Portland as the third period winds out.
You see the play here. The ball bounces around. Willie Norwood says, "Oh, look what I've got here. Opportunity." Takes advantage of it, puts it in the basket. Things are going well for Portland, as indicated by that play right there.
Be sure and stay tuned for the Chevrolet MVP award at the conclusion of the game. The Portland Trailblazers led by 12 at the end of the first period, by 18 at the half, and now as we head into the fourth period, they have a 22-point lead.
And Jack Ramsey taking advantage of this opportunity to get some other players in the game, give some of his starters a chance to rest, knowing full well that looks like there could be a game tomorrow night up in Seattle. Lucas on the bench, Steele on the bench, Lionel Hollins on the bench, getting much needed rest because they're going to have to work just as hard, perhaps harder, if they expect to win the game tomorrow night. Meanwhile, they have 12 minutes to hold on here to an 18-point lead.
At the fourth period, Dennis Johnson brings the ball up court. He's working in the back line with sharpshooter Fred Brown. Down low they go to Webster.
Make that 22.
22-point. That's their biggest advantage. Fleming is now in the game as he comes in and gets hot quick. Eats it right up. So now it's a 79-59 game for Portland. I don't think, Rick, they're going to run too much unless they have a big overmatch. They want to work that clock down.
That's their biggest ally right now. But then again, too, you can't really change the pattern of your game. A lot of times that'll cause you problems. A lot of teams have a tendency to do that. You must keep doing what was successful for you.
Borgic fires it down, then puts his head down and sprints to the end of the court so that Seattle doesn't get a long pass the other way. Marvin Webster, as Owens plays off him. Owens conceding him the outside shot if he wants to take it. Fleming draws a shooting foul, working inside. Willie Norwood hacked in.
Watch the play here. Gets the move, pumps faked inside. Gets the man to leave his feet a little bit. Foul with the body down low. Fleming getting some playing time. Lenny also figuring that the other guys aren't doing the job. May as well give the youngster an opportunity.
So Al Fleming, a 6'7" rookie from Arizona at the free throw line.
Very dejected looking Seattle bench.
But still, they have the upper hand in the series, even if they lose today. They'll be up 3-2 and going back to their home floor.
Look at John Johnson over there. Got his chin down to the floor. Jack Sikma. That tells the story of what's happening out there. Nothing to be smiling about.
Wally Walker comes across, picked up by Owens, down low to Marvin Webster. As he goes for a stuff, he loses the handle.
It's been the story of the entire game. They don't have the handle on the ball. They can't seem to do anything right. Marvin was going to have an easy dunk opportunity, as you pointed out, and just lost the ball.
Calhoun puts the ball inside to Owens as he works and hooks the ball up. Owens still has not scored in the second half, but he had 23 in the first two periods. Dennis Johnson comes down. Owens rebounds and looks for the outlet. Lead pass goes for Dick to Davis. All working for the Trailblazers. They're throwing in rainbows now.
And that is not what Lenny Wilkins wants Seattle to do.
Yep, Seattle's got a lid on. Wally Walker hits it for the Supersonics. 83-62 Portland, 9:55 to play in the game.
Talk about the assists, Don. So far, 19 assists for Portland, only 8 for Seattle. They are not moving the basketball well at all.
Owens throws the ball in nicely, then has to take it back because there was no shot. Fortune to Norwood. Basket goes. Willie Norwood is at 6 or 7 shots for Portland since coming off the bench.
It was Dave Swartz that really made that play. Watch it here. He has an open shot. He looks, he goes up for the shot. He sees his man open, passes off to him, cutting to the hoop. Norwood with an easy opportunity, picks up the foul and the basket. And that's good basketball. Not many players, when they get up in the air, get ready to shoot the basketball, have the ability to be able to see the entire floor. Great play by Twardzik. Smart cut to the hoop by Norwood.
So Fleming puts the ball inbounds now. It is 86-62, as you see. Trailblazers blowing them out right now in the fourth period. Fred Brown shoots. We're almost getting to garbage time, Rick, early in the fourth period.
I don't think Portland's going to get into that type of a syndrome. Jack Ramsey's too good a coach to allow that to happen, and I don't think Lenny Wilkins will allow that to happen either. If players start doing that, they'll be out of the game. As you watch Twardzik, you see again having trouble handling the ball a little bit. Makes the cut to the hoop right here. Gets tripped up a little bit by Dennis Johnson. Really didn't seem like Dennis did anything on purpose there, but he gets called for the foul as Jack Sikma comes back to the game, and Willie Norwood, man, added to the roster because of the injuries, as you pointed out, Don, has done an excellent job here this afternoon.
At 6 or 7 field goals, Willie Norwood has done a big job with 13 points. Sparky Calhoun looks at Owens, down low to Johnny Davis. And Johnny Davis from Dayton steps down the baseline of the floor, and the ball turns over to Seattle.
Look at Portland with the pressure they're putting on. They're way ahead, and they're still picking up full court in the back. Look at that. And they've got it right here. Dennis Johnson and Twardzik going after it. Not a very good choice by Dave Twardzik, I'll tell you that. Johnson's awfully big out there. The officials right on top of it. The players trying to break things up. Things a little heated out here. I don't know what happened to Dave Twardzik.
He upended Johnson when he was coming up the floor. All right, we welcome our other viewers. Here's what just transpired at Portland. Dave Twardzik and Dennis Johnson flipped each other in the air, and then they started up.
They were battling pretty good. It looked to me like Twardzik was the one that initiated that situation. Johnson just tripped over a little bit. Dave lost his composure a little bit and went after Johnson. And I would have to say, if anybody was the cause of that altercation, it certainly would have to be Dave Twardzik.
So now we have the officials who are working the game, and quite nicely. Jake O'Donnell and Jim Capers going over to tell both coaches just what we have here. Going to be some people leaving or what? We have 9 minutes to go in the fourth period. Don Criqui with Rick Barry. Portland is blowing Seattle out right now. Up by 22 points. Portland, the defending league champions, with a victory needed today just to stay alive and force a sixth game tomorrow night at Seattle. So the Trailblazers would still be down in the series and going to Seattle for another must-win game. Adios.
Well, it was a loose ball foul called on Twardzik. Both players thrown out of the game. And I don't think that's a good decision, Don Criqui, based upon what we saw. Watch it right here. Now you see, right there, he just pushes him. He's going after the ball. He trips over his back. It was not intentional. And Twardzik loses his composure right here. He probably thought it was intentional. He goes after him. He's the one that initiated the fight. And it should have been Dave Twardzik getting thrown out, not Dennis Johnson. Johnson, a victim of circumstances in this case.
And it should be pointed out, too, I think also, Rick, that neither of these guys are noted as fighters. They're both pretty controlled players.
Well, you notice that they threw a lot of punches. Nobody threw one and nobody landed one. It's more like a wrestling match.
Bill it as an exhibition. 8:58 left to go in the game. Hollins throws to Lucas. Trailblazers now are winding down the game clock by using that shot clock. As Johnny Davis fires, Gus Williams comes in, takes down the defensive board, and Seattle has to run now to get back in it if they can. Fred Brown was blocked by Lionel Hollins. Third on Hollins. Here it is again.
Here we see Freddie making the move this time. This time, Freddie was committed. Lionel got over in front of him after Fred had committed. Good call by the officials as Fred goes to the free throw line for 2 shots. 3 team fouls on the Sonics, 2 on the Blazers.
The league commissioners, you know, Rick, Lawrence O'Brien, came out with a very strong directive at the outset of the playoffs, reaffirming what the fines would be if there's any fighting. This, I don't think, would come under any strong penalty because nobody, as you point out, was punching. So now at 8:35 left to go in the game, it's Portland 86, Seattle 66. Williams gets the ball up court to Fred Brown. Lucas has it knocked away. Davis gets it. Portland, they're so schooled at running.
And Seattle just didn't get back on defense. The effort was not put forth by their players. A 4-on-2 break for Portland. Easy basket for Corky.
Now, Rick Barry, what does this do to Seattle getting beaten this badly if it does end up like this, going back for a 6th game?
Well, as Marvin makes a nice left-handed hook, I think it may teach them a little lesson. They may have been a little bit overconfident coming into this ball game, handling Portland so effectively. Corky popping one in, things still going well for them. It's a situation where they know now that they can't go out there and just go through the motions to win. So it may be a blessing in disguise for Seattle.
Marvin Webster pulls up. Gets a bank shot. I think he was trying to hit it straight down, but he will accept it. 90-70 as the clock shows 7:28 to play.
Seattle thus far, Don, being outplayed in every phase of this basketball game.
And that's the same story at Milwaukee, where it is 117-83, Milwaukee leading Denver. Gus Williams gets a free one. They haven't had many.
And it was a delay of game warning.
Well, Lenny Wilkins, of whom they've been said when he played the game he should have worn white gloves and a top hat. He had such great finesse and style. His team, here's a collision inside and the whistle blows.
Al Fleming picking up the foul. Portland trying again to get inside Portland's defense, which they've been able to do so successfully. Seattle trailing by 18 points. Is going to have to come up with something quick.
We're set to go now here at Portland with 6:59 left to play in the game, and the Trailblazers in command by 18, 90-72, with Game 6 in all probability coming up tomorrow night at Seattle. And realistically, Rick, do you think that Portland could ever come up with 3 straight wins down the stretch to take it?
Well, I'll tell you what, they keep playing the way they played here this afternoon, and they have a heck of a chance, especially if Seattle doesn't find out what they were doing wrong and make some adjustments.
Milwaukee has defeated Denver 119-91, so that series goes to a 7th game in Denver. Milwaukee with 2 consecutive victories after they were down 3 games to 1, so we've seen it possibly happening there. Although they have to win at Denver to win advance to the Western Finals.
Yes, and Denver gave him life. They gave that game away the other night, and Milwaukee taking advantage of it. And that's 5 fouls on Maurice Lucas. 3 team fouls on the Blazers, 4 on the Sonics.
Not that one, baby.
Jack Sikma hits it off the baseline of the floor. He has but 9 points, a marked difference from the 28 he had the last time these 2 teams met. And he got a lot of them right down the stretch when Portland lost its big lead in the 4th period. Nice shot by Maurice Lucas. 19's the big nose. So he's been the top point producer in the second half after Owens picked up 23 first half points and has not scored since then. Seattle's dropping off, giving them a shot there.
Yeah, the defense is almost non-existent at this point.
Silas puts it up, and here comes Portland running again. Calhoun to Owens. 25 for Owens. We welcome you back to Portland, Oregon, where the Trailblazers are really letting it rip. They lead 98-76 with Rick Barry. This is Don Crickey, as this series apparently is going to go to a 16 tomorrow night. You've seen Milwaukee come back to win 2 games against Denver to force a 7th game there. And Portland looks like it's going to be a contender right down to the final minutes of this whole series. They've been in command all the way today, Rick.
Well, I think they have the confidence going for them right now, Don. They're playing super in this game. They felt they should have won the game the other night, played well up there, but it's tough to win in Seattle. They've got to do it if they want to stay alive.
Holland's shot doesn't go, and the ball is knocked up into row F. Comes back to Seattle.
Jack Ramsey's got to be very pleased with his team here this afternoon. They have really come up with a gutsy effort, played the type of defense that he wanted from them, and a coach can't ask more of that of his players, to go out there and do what you're told to do or asked to do.
Now, Lenny Wilkins is putting some people in the game who've not played before. Joe Hassett, first-year backcourt player from Providence, comes in. Rebound to Lionel Hollins. He goes 110% flat out, 4 periods. Trying to break it through. He draws a shooting foul.
And that will be Jack Sikma picking up his 6th personal foul. He is out of the basketball game. And as I pointed out earlier, when Jack Sikma does not play that well, Seattle seems to have difficulties. They did win a game without him playing good, but he did not have one of his better games, and they're going to need a good performance from him tomorrow if they expect to win.
Lionel Hollins now has scored 13 points. Maurice Lucas has 19. Tom Owens has 27 for Portland to lead all scorers in the game. Marvin Webster with 16. Freddie Brown with 12 for Seattle, their top scorers.
Sonics are going to have to try and put this game out of their mind as far as the bad things that they did and say, okay, fellas, let's go out and work hard and play. It just seemed like they weren't quite ready from the outset of this ball game. Maybe a little overconfident, and I'm sure they will not be overconfident tomorrow night.
Joe Hassett, they called him Sonar at Providence, knocks down his first shot of the game.
Well, coming off the bench cold this late and putting one down with that efficiency, you could tell he's a shooter.
Lucas trying to turn the corner on Fleming, and Fleming gets him with an arm. Blocking foul.
And the penalty situation, second foul on Al Fleming. Here's the play right here. Maurice gives the fake, gets Fleming totally out of position. Fleming pushing off with the arm as Maurice tries to turn the corner.
Another standing ovation is accorded the Trailblazers here, as they've had a lot to cheer about. Lionel Hollins comes out of the game.
And you can bet that Maurice Lucas, as you see Lionel talking to Lloyd Neal, Maurice Lucas will be out the next opportunity. Willie Norwood's getting up.
3:48 left to play in the game. The Portland Trailblazers led by 12 at the quarter. They led by 18 at the half. They led by 22 at 3/4. And now they've annexed that lead to 23 with just 3:48 to play. This is a very, as all playoff games are, fiery game, hotly contested, a lot of physical punishment made it out. It's bumping and banging inside, and it's going to be tough to come back and play this hard again tomorrow night.
Certainly will, but they have been afforded the 3-second call right there. They've been afforded the luxury of having such a big lead that Jack's been able to give players a rest as Maurice Lucas goes to the bench for a rest, and this probably will help Portland, who of course are playing under man, but getting a lift from Willie Norwood certainly helped a great deal. That could be a big factor. Seattle, the biggest problem is going to be that of mental preparation. They must be properly prepared mentally. I'm sure the fans are going to help them get prepared.
Here comes T.R. Dunn, rookie from the Crimson Tide of Alabama, kicking the ball off to Norwood. Back out it goes to Corky Calhoun, who knocks it down, and so the Trailblazers keep putting the heat on, pouring it on. 103-78 with 3:10 to go.
And that's good ball movement by Portland. Something Seattle has not been doing almost at all in this game.
All Silas takes it down and bulls his way right back up to follow up the shot. This game in truth was decided some time ago as Portland came out flying and never let up. The Trailblazers will still be down 3 games to 2. Owens goes to Norwood. He's been the hottest shooter in the game. Hit 6 or 7 shots coming off the bench. Owens gets a free one. He has 29.
That's happened all afternoon. It shows you just how badly things are going for Seattle. Things cannot be this bad for them tomorrow, so maybe it's a break. Get it all out of your system now.
You want to forget this one. Here's Seattle. Bassett can put it down. Joe Hassett hits his second shot. 2 of 3 since he's come off the bench in the 4th period, as the clock now shows, as you see, 2:07 left to go. And we're going to have a timeout on the floor as the Trailblazers, looking to defend their NBA championship, playing one of their best games, if not their best, of the playoff series. We welcome our Milwaukee-Denver viewers. With Rick Barry, this is Don Crickey at Portland. 2:07 left to go in the game. And the Trailblazers down 3-1 coming into this, the 5th game of this Western semifinal series, in command, 105-82. Tom Owens, who's been the big guy for the Trailblazers, hooks in 30 and 31. 31 points for Owens.
Well, I'm sure that Jack Ramsey would be happy to get half of that performance out of Tom Owens tomorrow night. He's just played a superb basketball game here.
We were pointing out at the outset, Rick, Bill Walton isn't even here that we know of. He's not on the bench. But Owens has certainly given us everything they could ever expect from a Walton even today.
No question about that, Don.
12 of 17 he shot from the floor, did Tom Owens. 1:43 left to play, and now Owens is coming out, and you're going to hear the Blazer mania go full volume.
You know, Jack Ramsey has tears in his eyes, Don Crickey. He has tears in his eyes over there. He is so taken back emotionally from the performance of this team. You can see his eyes, like water in his eyes when Tom came off the floor.
Hey, that's going to be fun tomorrow night. It's going to be a full go tomorrow night. Tom Owens scoring 31 points. The guy who's been all over basketball. Played with 6 ABA teams, was with Houston last year. All of a sudden, he becomes a very, very important man in the possible future of the Trailblazers in this playoff series. They look to defend their championship. Without him today, I don't know where they'd be. Without him in this series, he's been the guy.
And Tom, you have a right to smile over there, fellow. You can be very proud of the effort that you've put forth here this afternoon.
Now Willie Norwood comes out. He too gets a standing ovation.
I think they set a record here last year in the championship series for standing ovations, as Willie gives a well-deserved smile.
Gus Williams puts up a free throw. Now he's been a factor. His actual lack of point of production. He came into this game averaging over 20 points a game in the playoff series. Has only 9 in this one. Portland's just dominated. You were talking, Rick, their defense was such a factor in the first half. It forced the turnovers.
Don, it's easy, really, to forget a game like this. It would have been more difficult if they had played well and lost.
That's right. You hate to lose those one-pointers. They're like Philadelphia did today in overtime. You don't like to lose these either when you get blown out, but it's going to go to Game 6 as we're down inside a minute to go now in the game. Seattle in green with the ball, and Portland still tenacious on defense. They won't give up a thing. Seals snuck away, got back door, and got the shot to make it 111-87. Tom Owens, the leading scorer with 31. Maurice Lucas really came out in the second half. Scored 16 second half points, had 24 for the game. Willie Norwood had 13, and Johnny Davis heads to the hoop and lays it in.
Good example of the poor Seattle defense. No way a guard should be able to drive from that far out in the basket and have a clear lane to the hoop. No weak side help at all.
Wally Walker from Virginia pulls up and drills a jump shot. Too little, too late. 113-89, 19 seconds to go. And they're up with a thunderous ovation for the Portland Trailblazers.
Give this team credit, Don Crickey. They played one well of a basketball game here.
I tell you, Rick, I think the most poignant thing about the whole ending is the tears streaming down the face of Coach Jack Ramsey. And his counterpart, Lenny Wilkins, heads out. And there is Tom Owens from the University of South Carolina and LaSalle Academy in New York City. Tom Owens having perhaps his biggest day ever as a basketball player, scoring 31 points to keep the Portland Trailblazers alive in their pursuit of another NBA championship with the odds against them. So here we go with the final numbers up. It is 113-89. The Portland Trailblazers are the victor. And now this Western semifinal series goes to Game 6 tomorrow night in Seattle, where the support for the Supersonics is every bit as enthusiastic and as loud as it is here in Portland. So Seattle has a distinct advantage tomorrow night and still leads in the series. Portland has to win 2 more games, but by virtue of course, having the best one-loss record in the league during the regular season, the Trailblazers, if they can come out of Seattle with a victory tomorrow night, would come back here for a 7th and deciding game. In their last time up at Seattle, Portland had an 11-point advantage in the 4th quarter, seemingly had the game won. And then the rookie for Seattle, Jack Sikma, started to throw everything in. And the final number was a 2-point win for Seattle. So the Trailblazers back to the wall without Bill Walton. Come up today with a 31-point show from his backup, Tom Owens. 24 points from Maurice Lucas. 14 points from Lionel Hollins. 9 points from Johnny Davis. 8 from Larry Steele. 13 from Willie Norwood coming off the bench. We'd like to take this opportunity to thank our fine production team, our producer, Bob Stenner, and our director, Tony Verna. Earlier today, the Washington Bullets were an upset victor at Philadelphia in Game 1 of the Eastern Finals, winning in overtime over the Philadelphia 76ers. Milwaukee has forced a 7th and deciding game by beating Denver today. Now let's go to Rick Barry.
And here's the man that I feel is responsible for this victory. Tom, you came out and played one well of a ball game in the first half. What were you thinking about before the game?
Well, we felt that we played a great game the other night up in Seattle, and we really thought we outplayed them. So Jack told us just think, we're still alive until, we lose that last game. So now it's down to 2 games we got to win, but we still believe we can do it.
Well, Tom, you had a super game, and good luck tomorrow night.
Thanks a lot, Rick.
Let's go back to Don Criqui.
All right, Rick, for Rick Berry, this is Don Criqui saying goodbye from the Portland Memorial Coliseum. Again, the final score, the Trailblazers 113, the Supersonics 89. Be sure and be with us next Friday night at 11:30 for more NBA World Championship playoff action. And on Saturday at 4:30 p.m. Eastern Time, the CBS Sports Spectacular will feature a WBA World Light Heavyweight Championship fight with Victor Galindez defending his title against Yaki Lopez. That's live on the CBS Sports Spectacular. Again, the final, Portland 113, Seattle 89. The NBA on CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports.
This is CBS.